Need for Speed Most Wanted has some great ideas, and there's something so familiar about playing a Criterion racer, Hex. The handling, the bob and sway, the camera as you go around corners, the drifting, and of course the crashes. I love the presentation of this game. There's minimal intro, then you just get in a car and drive.
Each car has its own set of races of varying difficulty, and to get access to those races, you just have to find that car in the open world. One button press will glide from one vehicle to another, even if you're in the middle of a high-speed police chase, which happens a lot, especially if you're careless around police cars. Whoops.
Hit and run on my unit. I am moving to pursuit.
I feel sorry for the AI traffic in this world, Hex. Your main goal is to take down the 10 most wanted drivers and be the best driver there is. This is the main progression in the game, but it doesn't need to be your priority if you don't want it to be. By completing early races, you slowly unlock mods for your cars, and you'll want to tweak these to beat the harder tracks. I think this progression system works, Hex, and it's fun having all these mods to unlock and play with.
Yeah, and the mod system has a bit of depth to it, but it's simple enough for anyone to understand. And you do feel the effects of tweaks to short or long gears or off-road tyres, for example.
Yeah, and everything seems to have a pro unlock as well, so you're rewarded for the more time you spend with a particular vehicle. You can even customize on the fly in a race. So, for example, if you hit one of those deadly spike strips that they evilly brought over from Hot Pursuit, you can flip to your reinflatable tyres, if you can finagle the controller in time.
All units, suspect tires are reinflated.
Or you can just go without tyres and grind your way over the finish line.
That sound is the worst. It's a stunning game though, isn't it? From the reflections on the ground to the sheer number of vehicles on screen and the various things they're crashing into. There's no in-car view, just first and third person, but I liked how even in third person there's still those subtle effects to your view to make it feel like you're looking through a windscreen.
Yeah, it's all quite complicated visually, isn't it? So many little touches, such as the blinding bloom when you come out of a tunnel, or the leaves that float around in the tree areas. And none of these particle effects slow the game down either. We reviewed this on PC and console, and naturally the PC version is all a bit sharper and there's much better draw distance, but it's impressive on both platforms. And most importantly, Hex, great tunnels.
Oh, excellent tunnels. And that echo as you're driving through is really quite scary, much like I imagine a high-speed tunnel chase would be. We had crazy multiplayer lag on PC though, with lots of people just disappearing and juggling about, so hopefully that settles down in time, because on 360 it was near perfect, even with overseas people in the party.
And while we're at it, we had a look at the Vita version as well and was happy to find that it's actually the same game from as far as we can tell. It's not some cut-down version. And visually it held up quite well too, although it is quite hard to gauge that with so few racing games on the Vita. The more I played this game, the more it reminded me of Burnout 3 Takedown because of the city locations and all the traffic, and that's the biggest compliment a game can have in my opinion, because Burnout 3 Takedown is the greatest racing game of all time.
Yeah, I did find myself craving some clear roads after a while though. I mean, this is constant white-knuckle racing, and you barely get a break.
That's what's so good about it. I love riding that oncoming lane and, you know, getting that extra nitrous boost by taking the risk of oncoming traffic, traveling at a high speed and...
But that moment before a crash when you know it's coming, I mean, it's just terrifying.
While a lot of the tracks can look a bit samey in the city location, they certainly aren't crafted to feel the same. There's careful placement of traffic and track markers to challenge and surprise you, so learning each track is rewarding. It's always the piers that I struggle with the most, Hex. The beach would be so pleasant if it wasn't for those wooden slats of doom ruining all my fun.
Well, there's always a shortcut or a jump for you to veer off to though. It's very risk-reward.
One of the biggest challenges to open world racing games is navigating you around the map without being forced to look at that GPS constantly and keeping you focused on the racing. At E3 this year, we talked to the Professor, one of the devs behind the game, who spoke about their world design.
We've actually purpose-built the city and its road network to facilitate the building of circuit races. So you'll see common things in racing games like chicanes and hairpins as part of the road network. But these form a flowing natural circuit which you don't need chevrons to funnel a player around. They'll naturally know the routes as they drive. I like to think if the racers in the city got together, if it was a real place, they'd create these routes because they're natural and they have a nice flow. We're using checkpoints at these with these long routes to help guide you. But even then, we have some rules like we'll never turn left or right at a junction. It's always straight across, and we purpose-built the world for those.
You know, I find myself in two minds about this badge because closed circuit racing makes you focus on the race, and I just find myself getting quite frustrated here. It's such a trade-off.
Yeah, I'm normally with you on that, and I don't think they nailed it in their last open world game, Burnout Paradise, but I think they got it here. I only maybe once or twice missed a turn because of the way the tracks were designed.
I don't know, I think there's just too many occasions where there's some blind corner or turn that, you know, just wipes you out, making it impossible for you to finish first. Not always, but it happened enough that I got a bit annoyed.
I think that's part of it, though. There's always some arsehole corner that you just have to learn, and that's classic Burnout.
Look, it's not a perfect system, but I'll agree, it's pretty good. Also, the drifting is solid in this game. In fact, it felt a little bit easier to drift than usual. Plus, it still gets that perfect mix of fine maneuvering while managing your braking. Throw in a bit of nitrous to straighten out of those turns, and you've got a killer crash and boost experience.
Auto-log returns, of course, to entice you to challenge your friends' scores at every single turn, and they even put profile pictures on the odd billboard for you to smash through too.
You got air.
It's a busy time of year for games though, Hex, and this time around I only had 1 or 2 people playing, and that was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, I think with a game like this, timing is everything, and half my friends are still playing XCOM all the time. Online multiplayer continues the seamless presentation. You and a party have a list of events to compete in which cycle through from racing to team racing, drifting challenges, and crazy jump events. Some are better than others, but there is a lot of dead intermission time, which gets a little bit tedious.
Yes, but I did like the chaos in between races as everyone tries to get to the next point. And it's not always the fastest car that is the best option. Taking out one of my many Lamborghinis is thrilling, but also they're a bit of a glass cannon.
I would have liked more dramatic variety in the scenery. Detail and track construction more than make up for that. Plus, they all have these surreal little intros and themes.
They were great, weren't they? I think my favourite was all the lovely police cars falling from the sky. What I like most about this world, though, is how freeing it all feels and how rarely they take control away from you. And when they do, it's not for very long at all. They just want to keep you moving the whole time. Although it can be a little stressful when you've just come out of a race and you're still stuck in a pursuit and you're trying to change and mod your car and you're getting hit from all angles. Sometimes it's easier just to let yourself be busted.
Vehicle's going solo to escape.
Yes, it's all part of being a renegade street racer, though, isn't it? I do wish you could turn down or even off the police chatter, though. I mean, it is reactive, but it gets a bit repetitive after a while.
Dispatch 1044 continuing. Either we're a part of their race or they just don't care.
Retrying menus are everywhere, which is nice, but there's a few unnecessary yes-no confirmation menus, which in a hectic pursuit can be pretty frustrating. These are all very small gripes, though.
I'm totally with you on the confirmation menus thing, though. In general, the days are gone where we need yes-no confirmations on anything. Computer programs, video games, those days are gone.
Yes,
I'm sure I want to close the program, I'm sure.
Well, all in all, this is an incredibly polished game, and they've squeezed every ounce of power out of the console version too, so I'm giving it 8.5.
I think this is the best open world racer out there. I'm giving it 9.5 out of 10.
What about ones where you've got to delete something really important?
Well, not delete menus, not
not
delete ones, but like just general.
That's a confirmation
just closing.
menu. Are you sure you want to delete
ones.
this?
The delete ones are fine.
Okay, so they're exempt.
Anything else? Yes, I'm sure I want to close this. Yes, I'm sure I want to go back.
What about?
Where do I want to save?
Are you sure you don't want to save?
Which storage device do I want to use?
What
Just
if it asks
pick
you
the
about
one that I
saving?
use all the time.
Are you sure you don't want to? Are you sure you want to close
Stresses
this
me out.
program without saving?
I spent a lot of time yelling at my ABC computer.